On the left, you'll see Alina Habba, which is Trump's representative. I don't think she's his attorney. And you've got Laura Ingraham from Fox News on the far left in the orange here. And they're talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Give this a listen.
And we've got a guy who literally can't walk, but is smart enough to smile and snark and make comments like, I didn't realize I was that powerful. You know, he probably doesn't, frankly, Laura.
I think they're talking about Donald Trump being convicted of felonies, like 34 felonies for fraud. And they claim that Biden was the one that orchestrated it all and made him receive a guilty verdict or whatever. In reality, the president does not have that power, actually. This is a state-level charge. The president had absolutely no control over this. Even if the president wanted control, he wouldn't have control of it.
Probably doesn't, frankly, Laura. He probably doesn't, because it's probably not him.
Probably not him. I can't tell if she thinks he's a clone or if she's just using this to dog whistle to QAnon. That's very possible. Or if she thinks she's just implying that they're puppets.
But there are definitely puppets, and those puppets are coming from the Biden administration and probably from prior administrations, and they are out to get Trump because they can't beat him. And that's obvious. If you look at the crowds of people, if you look at the polls.
Simply false. Biden beat Trump in 2020.
Yeah, Alina, are you saying that you believe former Obama administration officials are also somehow involved, at least in the background here?
Yeah, she's framing this like it's a news report or something. It's not. It's a political commentary piece.
Well, I find it a little bit odd that he never left Washington, and then when he did, he goes to beaches as well. I find it odd that him and the Clintons are...
Yeah. I'm sorry. Obama has to be there in person physically to make decisions, right? Because cell phones don't exist, or laptops, or whatever. So Obama, I guess, is pulling the strings from in the White House. Is he the one that sits at the Resolute desk? I mean, come on. This is insane.
That him and the Clintons are flying on...
I think it's he and the Clintons, but whatever.
Or left Washington, and then when he did, he goes to beaches as well. I find it odd that him and the Clintons are flying on Air Force One with President Biden. I also find it odd that...
I don't know what she's talking about. Obama flying on Air Force One with Biden?
I find it odd that we have a president that can't speak or walk, but here we are. This is...
What are you talking? He's literally speaking in the video next to her. What do you mean he can't speak or walk? You can watch him walk out of press briefing rooms like all the time. They're like in another dimension.
I also find it odd that we have a president that can't speak or walk, but here we are. This is this America, and we cannot survive another 4 years of it.
Well, Alina, Michael Cohen had a message for Trump today.
Anyway, it's just wild, dude. Now, I got a voicemail about this, and I wanted to, that's why I'm playing the clip here. We're going to listen to a voicemail in a second, but I wondered if she was dog whistling to QAnon, because this is a QAnon belief. There's a woman named Kirsten Weldon. That's her name, Kirsten Weldon. She was a famous QAnoner who caught COVID and died of it. Believed that it was a plot from the deep state, it wasn't real, and all this crazy stuff. Quick interjection, this won't take long, I promise. I'd appreciate it if you watched to the end of the video, or at least a couple extra seconds, because YouTube bases its algorithm off of watch time. The more watch time a video has, the further the video will go. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion, and the history of the religion generally. The 100 questions are intended to challenge a religious leader, so I'd appreciate it if you give it a read. Okay, back to the video. Woman on the left is Ann Vandersteel. She has a show called The Steel Truth, and it's just QAnon insanity. And then in the top right, that's Kirsten Weldon, the woman who died. These are from 2020, by the way. This is from early May 2020, this specific video. And the next one we're going to watch is from mid-July 2020. So check this one out.
I want to just get something clear about your source that's providing this information. This is a source you've used for how long?
On and off for like the whole time I've been on, maybe like 2.5 years, 3
She doesn't have any source.
years.
Okay. And how often have they been wrong in giving
100% of the time.
information?
0 times.
Wow.
0. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
Zero.
let's hope today is not the day they decide to be wrong and throw you for a loop. But
well,
Yeah, because people decide to be wrong.
they even predicted the Ruth Bader Ginsburg was dead January 2019. I'm sorry, and they exhumed her body and destroyed it. So there's no proof of that. Then they
Who is they? Are they in the room with us right now?
had two doubles for her, and one was very tall, so she could keep seated the whole time. And then one ran off, so they have none left.
Okay, so they had clones or I guess doubles of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. One was tall and one ran off. Well, why didn't the one who ran off speak out about all this? Why is it that nobody at any point in the government has ever come out and said Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been dead for like years and years, like before she even actually died, and they've been using clones or body doubles or whatever? When I say clones, I'm not being flippant, by the way. These people, QAnoners, really do believe in clones. They think the government's cloning people and replacing them. Like, they think Eminem is a clone. You know, the more people that are involved in something, the less likely it's going to stay a secret. Like, look at Flat Earth, for example. So many people would have to keep their mouths shut for Flat Earth to be real. Globe manufacturers, telescope manufacturers, airline pilots, NASA, anybody affiliated with NASA, SpaceX, so many people would have to keep their mouths shut. They'd have to know that the Earth was flat because their calculations would be off otherwise, like airline pilots. But they're lying to you. The more people involved in a conspiracy, the less likely it is to stay quiet. In the 2000s, there was a covert operation that the United States was running. Absolute top secret. Does not get more secret than this. They were breaking international law, not to mention constitutional law, violating people's rights egregiously and hurting people terribly. It was like the biggest secret in government. They were torturing people. The United States government was torturing people. And that somehow slipped out. Somehow, everyone else got a hold of it. You know why? Even though they kept it secret in a chain of command, only people who needed to know, on a need-to-know basis, only they were aware of what was happening. You had to go into a secure facility, a bunker, to read this or even talk about it. That's how secret this was. And it came out. If the government can't even keep that a secret, what makes you think they could keep Ruth Bader Ginsburg being cloned or having a body double a secret, or the flat Earth? There is no logic in here anywhere.
So that would be Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of course, protected by the very corrupt Justice Roberts, who got $3 trillion.
Trillion? Okay, there are no trillionaires on the planet. There are suspicions it may be Putin is the world's first trillionaire, but he hides his wealth really well, so it's hard to know. What does she mean, $3 trillion?
Of our funds when Tower 7 went down, and he gave the remainder of the $10 trillion to the Bushes and the Clintons.
Oh my God, dude. She's a 9/11 truther also. That is Kirsten Weldon, and that she's a QAnon representative. That is an example of these people espousing the belief that clones are controlling everything. Everybody in the government has been cloned by other members of the government, I suppose. It's all being run by clones or by body doubles, one or the other. Why would they do it? Got me. Quick interjection. This won't take long, I promise. I just want to say I'd appreciate it if you check my Patreon. OwenMorgan.com/Patreon to find it. YouTube's algorithm goes up and down, so I can never predict where it's going to be. Having patrons gives me some level of stability. Okay, back to the video. Here's another example of Kirsten Weldon saying something very similar. Mid-July 2020. By the way, at this moment in history, COVID had been raging for about 6 months in the United States. People were taking it seriously that long, so.
Okay, so 15th, 16th, and 17th from my military intel, He's going to be triangulated
Military intel.
by 3 FBI agents. And on these 3 dates, 15, 16, and 17, one of these days, they're going to try to take him out.
Talk about Trump. They're going to try. Are they in the room with us right now, Kirsten? They are going to take him out, Donald Trump. And she has this secret info that she's feeding to a gigantic audience. Seems to me you would want to keep that quiet so that you could let those people play their hand and you could catch them unaware. But okay, you know, I'm not the QAnoner. I'm not the expert here.
What, the 55th attempt? And they have taken out 2 of his clones. So
55th attempt on Trump's life, and they've taken out 2 clones.
So just FYI, yes, there's clones out there that are his. So he would not have survived without the clones. So FYI. And we can...
I thought people who used clones were bad. Isn't cloning bad?
Clones. So FYI. And we can really tell the difference between the clones by the tie. Sometimes the yellow tie, the red tie, and the blue tie Trump. The blue tie Trump is a happy clone that's very good at golf.
Okay, why? If somebody was cloning presidents, let's just pretend that they'd keep their mouths shut about it. Why would they instruct each individual clone to leave a little hint for everyone else in the world to find out, like wearing a different colored tie? There's no logic in this. None. I think Alina Habba was dog whistling to QAnon, personally. I think she was at least implying that Joe Biden is actually a clone that can apparently talk and walk, and the real Joe Biden can't talk or walk. Jesus, dude.
The yellow tie Trump is not, that smart, and the real Trump usually is the red tie Trump. Okay, so she's come up with an excuse for when Donald Trump says something that is dumb as dog. Okay, at least we know. And she's also come up with an excuse for why so many assassination attempts have been, leveled against Trump, but none of them have worked. Okay, great. Who's doing the assassinating in this situation? Anyway, that's Alina Habba. I think she's pandering to QAnon personally. Listen to the voicemail about this. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. I don't usually edit voicemails. In fact, I never add anything to them. I just sometimes, in this case, very rarely, I splice them together because sometimes people call in and leave 2 to complete their thought. Sometimes there are gaps, so I close those gaps and fix it so it sounds more natural.
Owen, breaking news. Alina Habba's gone full conspiracy mode. That's Trump's lawyer, his TV lawyer that won a very good judgment for E.J. Caroling and Donald Trump, that lady. She went on Laura Ingraham's show and went on about how Biden is either a double or like a body double or a clone or something like that, and the Obamas and the Clintons are running the things they have. I'm not joking. That's what she said. You should check it out. This is insane. Anyway, there you go.
Absolutely wild, man. Yeah, I think she was probably trying to get QAnon on board with her, right? I don't know that QAnon is particularly popular at this immediate moment, but the people are still around. People who are prone to conspiracy theories to that degree, they're still here. They're still hanging out. They're still spreading conspiracies. Absolutely wild.
Hi, I am Lockett from Louisiana. I've called in before, but I was just watching your new video, and you had a question about whether or not sins are ranked.
I couldn't understand. I had to listen real closely. I had a question about whether or not sins are ranked. Are some sins worse than others? Because there's a Black Robe Regiment recruitment video, like an extremist recruitment video, where a guy says that not speaking up about hating gay people and all that stuff is tantamount to sodomy. Not supporting Trump is as bad a sin as sodomy. That's what he said. Anyway, that's where this is coming from. Okay, so sins are ranked.
They're ranked, and growing up Pentecostal, I can say that they are. There's 3 tiers. Your low-level sins are just sins, and then you go up to abomination, then you go up to blasphemy.
I have never heard that before. Normal sins, and then abominations, and then blasphemy. Where did they get that, you think? Like Pentecostals, I mean. Where did they get the idea that there are more intense sins? So blasphemy is the worst. Taking God's name in vain, I suppose, or cursing God. And then abominations include being gay, I suppose, not supporting Trump, and a bunch of other things. And then regular sins would include lying. And I wonder, is murder in the lying category or the abomination category?
Sodomy is considered an abomination, so that is a higher ranking sin. My dad says you'll open hell up just the same, but the worse the sin is, you'll open hell up just a little bit wider.
I'm not sure what that means exactly. The Lord will open hell just a little wider. What? So you go to a deeper part?
Being gay is a little bit higher up there than lying. Lying is a low-level sin. I mean, I don't agree with any of it, but that's just how it's ranked. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. That was super interesting. I had no idea that there were groups that, I mean, I assume there's probably some group that ranks them, but where are they getting this? I don't remember this being in the Bible anywhere. What a simply wild belief to just pull out of thin air, seemingly.
Hey, Owen, Kaya from California. I just wanted to give you a little tidbit of information related to schizophrenia. In your video, massive church schism over a very petty thing is happening. About 13 minutes in, you say that, schizophrenia doesn't develop until about 12 at the very earliest. That's generally true, but it's very rare. I do want to make a point in saying that it does happen. I had a student, preschool student, who developed childhood schizophrenia at about 4 years old. It's super duper rare, but yes, the doctors confirmed that. Thanks.
That's really interesting. Yeah, schizophrenia almost never manifests before like 16 years old, but I guess it can be younger from time to time. It's like Alzheimer's disease has manifested in somebody. I think the youngest was 27 years old. That's when they got Alzheimer's. That is crazy young. So I guess, I can see schizophrenia having like this bell curve where it's almost never before this point or after that point. But anyway, absolutely wild. Thank you for the information. Appreciate that.